City Council member Fernando Cabrera from the 14th District. Welcome, Councilman.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Councilman, we have a lot of things to talk about today.
Yes.
This week, State Attorney General Eric Schneiderman resigned amidst allegations of domestic violence. Now, what does it mean for people in the Bronx and across New York?
Well, I mean, at one level, it affects everybody because it affects the public trust in elected officials. And another level, we have to choose somebody. And the person who gets to choose that person now is a Speaker of the Assembly, Carl Hastie. They have an interim person right now, Ms. Underwood, but that's just an interim person. That person is going to be assigned to be appointed into the next election. But that's a big edge. Whoever gets in now is going to have the platform, is going to be able to be known by people. They get to brand themselves.
This person, Barbara Underwood, who was appointed basically overnight, a few minutes before we're actually recording this program, she's coming from within. She has a law enforcement background.
Absolutely, but I could guarantee you that it's not going to be her. It's going to be somebody in the outside. And we have a lot of good candidates.
Are there any names, or who do you think, in your opinion, might be a good replacement?
I think a good replacement might be our public advocate, Tish James. She's been an avid people, grassroots kind of a public advocate. She's one that defends the rights of those in need, and she has stood up against big corporation, and she's fearless. I served with her in the City Council, and I can tell you she's fearless. And it'll be good to see somebody also, a person of color and a woman. I think it's to regain the public's trust. I would love to see a woman there who's well qualified, and she's more than qualified.
How soon could we expect an appointment by the Assembly Speaker?
I think it's going to happen very soon in order to bring stability to the Attorney General's office. I think it's very important that we have somebody soon, and from what I hear, it's going to be sooner than later.
And there's some continuity as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. There's some great work that office has put forth, and this should not be in any way an indictment of the brave staff that has put in long hours to defend the rights of our people.
So whomever is appointed by the State Assembly Speaker has to go up for election, special
It's going to have to go for elections, and then we're going to have other elections happening this year. I want to encourage people to go out to vote. In June is for Congress, and then we have the Senate, the Assembly, and the governor's race. So all of these races are very, very important, and we need people to get engaged and let the voices be heard.
Schneiderman himself was up for re-election this term, correct?
Yes, and so I think it's very important that people, again, step up and step out. You know, what happens a lot of times, people complain, oh, I don't like this, I don't like that. But did you vote? You know, did you make your voice be heard at the polling site? That's the place where we get to make our statement.
Switching the microscope now from State Affairs to City Hall. Before we talk budget, I know that there's been some issues with Uber and some mobile app drivers and taxi drivers. You've been very involved in that. Please tell me what's been happening.
Well, it's a very contentious situation right now. You know, I don't know if you knew, but 4 livery drivers have killed themselves, committed suicide. One right in front of City Hall shot themselves right in the car. It's a tragic thing. It tells you the pressure. The pressure is stemming at a different level. They're not making what they used to. There are too many taxis. When I mean taxi, I mean all kinds. Yellow, green,
and the
black,
mobile app drivers like Uber,
Lyft, all of them.
Grab,
all of them are really hurting right now. So we need to reduce the amount, and most taxi drivers agree with me here. We need to reduce the amount, keep the ones that we have, but put a cap. On top of that, we need to change some of the TLC rulings. Like right now, I introduced a bill that will stop the practice of giving them a TLC ticket, and then immediately for the same traffic offense, they'll get one from the DMV. It's just like double jeopardy. I know double jeopardy is for felonies and so forth, but in crimes. But we're talking about a form of injustice that our Constitution, the intentionality was to protect us from that. And so more than ever, we need to really focus on how to help them, to listen to them, because for many years they were not listened to. My piece of legislation will address minimum 6 aspects of what is happening with TLC. For example, right now they get a ticket and they're not really given a fair share if they have, for example, the lights went out, that it could happen to anybody. Now with this piece of legislation, they're going to be able to go in, show that they have repair, because at the end of the day, that's what we really want. Right now, if you get a ticket as a taxi driver, TLC, before going to court, would say, if you give us $300, then you don't have to go before court. That's like a shakedown. You know, I want them to go through the whole judicial process that is over oath, which they're the ones who oversee this type of rulings.
Some traditional taxi drivers and livery-based owners have complained in the past that the law, as it is written now, sort of benefits mobile app drivers by not requiring from them the same kinds of permits and insurances and other kind of accountability measures. Is that being looked into as well?
Yeah, as well. And right now the biggest issue is that we don't have a system in place, and I'm big on systems and equity, that all of the taxi drivers of every kind will have a base pay, a fee that they would charge everyone. And they want to charge more, it's another thing. So now what's happening, there's this competition to go down so low that has been literally driving taxi drivers out. And look, 94% of them are people of color. Many of them are immigrants, and this is their first job they ever gotten here. Some of them invested over $1 million for like the yellow cabs, and now they're only worth $140,000. We need to move and move quickly.
Is there a way for traditional taxi drivers and mobile app drivers to coexist in this city?
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm not against technology. I'm all for technology. Many people in the Bronx use this technology, but we need to have a system that is fair. And alongside with Councilmember Diaz, Sr., and Councilmember Levine, and with my legislation, we're going to tackle all of these issues.
I know the spring also means budget negotiations for the city. How is that going, and how is that looking for the Bronx?
Well, we already had the preliminary hearings. Now we're having what is called executive hearings. They started in May 7th, and now we're moving forward until the end of this month to see the adjustments that the mayor's office has put forth. But I want to be clear, and we have a tremendous speaker, Corey Johnson, who's doing a fabulous job. We are more independent council than we have ever been in the history, I believe, of the city council. If we see a budget that does not deal with our constituents and they're not hearing what we're saying, we're not going to move forward with it. So we're looking for equity. We're looking at a budget that is responsible. We're looking at about an $88 billion budget. You know, that's bigger than most state budgets outside of California, of course, New York, and a few other large states. I mean, that's a tremendous budget. So we want to make sure that we have savings for rainy days, and at the same time, we're servicing the needs of our people.
I know in the last couple of minutes that we have, you've been pretty busy pushing for legislations regarding health.
Yes.
What's the 411 on that?
The 411 is that myself and alongside with Board President Eric Adams from Brooklyn, we introduced a bill called Ban the Baloney. We need to ban the baloney. And what people may not know, and I know firsthand how it affected me. You know, I had an artery that was blocked 99%.
Wow.
I almost died. I had less than 24 hours to live, according to the cardiologist. And I was eating a lot of cold cuts. Research that just came out last year indicate that you have a 50% greater chance of dying if you're eating cold cuts twice a week. And this is what we serve in our children. And health affects the level of concentration, of attention, where the kids get edgy. And for some of these kids, this is the best meal that they're going to eat in the entire day. So we want to make sure that our children are not eating this processed food that are put at the same level as arsenic, according to the FDA. So we're calling to ban the bologna in the New York City Post.
When might that law become a reality?
Well, we're going to have the hearings hopefully in September, and we're calling upon the state of New York to go ahead and pass it alongside with other pieces of legislation that are going to definitely help our children.
Thank you, Councilman, for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
Amigos, we will return after the break.